everybody. I am Cinnamon Cooney, your art Sherpa, and today I'd really like to show you how you can create for yourself this delightful dog that's shaking off water. I like to call it Splashy Dog. He's very colorful and upbeat and delightful. I'm going to show you everything you need to know to be able to paint him for yourself at home. And to help me do that is my husband, John.
Hey guys.
He makes sure that the camera is really zoomed in on focused on the techniques that I'm demoing or the color mixes that I'm explaining. And that's really going to facilitate you for your ability to make them for yourself. Now, you are welcome to come by and just paint this one dog. I know a lot of us really love dogs, and maybe you just visited to create this single project. But you might notice here that I have 30 lovely projects that you might also like to participate in, and I'd like to invite you to join us for that. But for right now, just get your paint, get your brushes, come back and meet me at the easel right now because we're going to paint him together. So today's colors are phthalo blue, Mars black, titanium white, phthalo green, burnt sienna, Naples yellow light, cadmium yellow medium, cadmium red medium, quinacridone magenta, and dioxazine purple. Now to begin this, we're going to paint the entire surface kind of a cool medium gray. That's going to let things pop, very much on the background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my big brush, my big brush, drag off the extra water. I'm going to take my black and my blue together, mixing them together. I'm going to get a little bit of white. You're going to see that makes that nice kind of cool gray. We're going to paint everything this color. Now, once you have your 8x8 surface painted with this blue-gray, you can take a T-square ruler and a chalk tool and mark out a 1 by 1 inch grid. And how I do that is I go along the ruler, and everywhere I see an inch mark, I make a little chalk mark. And from this, I will create vertical lines and horizontal lines, making a 1 by 1 inch grid on here. And then what I do is I go across the top from left to right and number each of those top row squares 1 through 8. And then on the left-hand side, from the top to the bottom, I number 1 through 8. And that will match the reference that we're going to be using to get that in. When you have the grid completed, number 1 through 8 across the top and 1 through 8 across the side, what you can do to use this, if you're not really confident in drawing yet, this method lets you draw smaller amounts of a total project. So if I want to draw a part of the dog, I just have to look on row 3 and 2 and go, well, the dog's neck enters here and exits here. And that's all you've got to draw. And then if you've got a little bit coming on the back of 3, you do that. And you do this around the whole image on the contour lines, that's the outer edges, until the whole image is finished. So this is a very live and energetic drawing with lots of curves that are counterposed to each other. So we're going to be doing a lot of S strokes, a lot of almost arabesque strokes, and we're going to do a lot of implied line where we do the drops. We're going to call this step 1. It's a lot to take in. I know it's kind of a weird angle, but it's a great exercise to learn to really rely on the grid. We're going to come back and I'm going to show you how to do the background and the beginning of the dog. Once we have this all laid in, we're going to kind of clean up the grid a little bit. I'm going to use my number 8 cat's tongue. This is kind of a pointed filbert, but you could use a filbert, you could use a round, you could use a bright. It's not really super critical. I'm going to get this very wet with kind of the blue background color, and I'm going to make sure that I come in and erase the grid. Now, a lot of times, you can just erase this grid.
Just like water?
With water. But I wanted to come in this time with just a little bit of pigment on my brush. Glue it up just a bit. Even though we're going to definitely be going very colorful and bright around him. This is still considered a very neutral color comparatively to him. Now, I've done him one time in watercolor and I really loved it. But I am resisting using that reference right now, simply because I don't want it to influence how I do this today. Does that make sense, John?
Mm-hmm.
So, kind of in my, I am going my own way kind of a thing. That's where I'm going to start. Now, I'm going to begin with the base of his fur, which is going to be a bit of my cad red and my cad yellow and my burnt sienna. Right? Now, this isn't quite a brown and it's not quite a general golden color that you would normally see. It's just the starting point of a very colorful dog. I'm going to come along the top here of the ear and I'll flick that out. This is really fun to do. I can't tell you how much, because at the end of all these, you get to flick these out.
Yeah.
Kind of exaggerating this wet hair in motion, which it is very in motion. This exercise is going to be a lot about value and how we find our value. I'm going to take this color and you can kind of see, bring those little brush strokes around like that. It's a bit darker as we come under here. So I might get into the brown. Keep in mind though, this is a base for a lot of color that we're going to be applying. I'm just starting to get the, I guess what I would say, the bones of it going. Now I'm going to add a little white to the mix of him here. And I'm going to come here, kind of adding this little highlighted space, if you can see that.
Yeah, I'm zooming in on that.
And this sort of blends in. So this is a slightly darker value. We're working some slightly lighter values, just being playful as we go. And I'm not even necessarily going to do all of him with this kind of goldy fur color. And the reason is that I want him to feel, the original one I did was so colorful, and I very much enjoyed that. So this is me just kind of laying in a bit of that. I'm going to get some more white and yellow into that. And just make sure that I talk about this right here, as you would. Very, very wild and playful. As you can see, we are exaggerating the fur. This methodology will work with any of what you're doing. So I want to get a little of my orange and yellow again, this time with a bit more brown. I'm going to come under here for a second. There'll be many, many darker colors that we play with, but let's start to build these little moments up. We'll come back and build more up as we go. I'm going to just play with some of what we know is maybe darker or
And brush directionality seems very important here.
it is. You can see I'm S curving. So many of these strokes are C curving. S curve is that counterposed stroke. You know, C curves look like a C. But again, we're just trying to throw in his basic value set, because there's a lot of play to do with him as we come through. It's fun. Fun right here. There's a fun little chunk of hair to bring out. So you can see we're just, woo! He's coming in fast, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So kind of a lighter value here, a more orange, deeper value, lighter value, gets deeper through here. We get more into the yellow and lighten it up. This is the game we're playing. It's not a game. It is a game. Don't kid yourself. It's a total game. I'm going to get a little yellow into that more orange-yellow mix. And we're going to say, hey, right here, maybe even a little bit lighter. The other thing that sometimes I'm trying to capture on stuff like this is how light or dark a segment of him might be. And I can even use the blue in some sense to represent some of the dark. Isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm.
But I do like it for being able to do that. Like if I want to go right over his eye with this, I can. You can see the curves kind of S-curve this way and then they go back. And if you've ever watched a dog shake off water, this should be giving you just a ton of joy in everything. I'm going to bring a little bit more brown in there. Maybe even a little brown through here. Just because we want to be able to be playful. A little more yellow and white. And one that ear there. We can even go like this right here. Over what is that next eye. Get a little more red into it, maybe. And then come here. Try brush that there, but not much. Because we don't want to lose what we have. All right, let's call that, because that's a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
The directionality, it's already fun. It's like Chewbacca's having a moment. The directionality and all of that, it's already a great time. So let's call that step 2, and we're going to come back and we're going to start adding values through really whimsical colors. And I may even dry this a bit so that those layers, you know, are their own kind of space. In step 3, we're going to be playful with our colors. We're going to continue to kind of work our values. And we're also going to play those warm and cool colors to say this is in shadow, this is in light. And again, still play with the motion of the fur. All of this, which to me seems super fun and super wonderful. I feel. So let's say right here, I am enjoying very much this kind of orange yellow that's up here. So I don't necessarily want to change that, but I may want to exaggerate it. I might even get some of my Naples yellow into it with the white, if you saw me make that mix, which was the cad yellow, the cad red, a little white, and Naples yellow. Just lightening it up and getting that kind of in there. So let's play with that a bit. It's quite a light color, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I want it to, you know, come through here. We know we've got a little bit of this right there. And then you want to look for distant but relevant places you could put that color. So I'm going to come right there and exaggerate, not every hair, just some of these. On the toe, you can see the S-curves. So fun to say, you are splashing.
Mm-hmm.
Splashy splasher. That's fun. Now I can go right into some yellow. Maybe through here. You can see that's much brighter. But it's also a darker value, isn't it?
Yeah.
However, it's at the top of him, so it's a warmer value, and I like that quite a lot. If I come in, I'm going to add more red. Sort of talk about the way some of his fur is maybe woven into that. Oranginess is good.
That orangey is nice.
Isn't it nice? Playful. Playful, playful, playful. Grab a little bit of yellow into that. And we don't want to lose the fur motion. Whatever we do, we don't want to lose that. Rinse that out very, very well. Under his chin, some of this is super dark, right? So here, let's go like this. Let's get a little bit of our quinacridone into our purple. What a fun color that is. That is really playful, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to come under the chin. Maybe a little more purple into it, because we need a darker value. Maybe sometimes pick up a little blue. There, so I can see it. That's a wonderful color. The purple and the blue together, they're going to pop really well against this. That's what's fun here, is that we can play I feel playful with the color. Look at that little motion too on his fur. Come back in with maybe some pure blue. Now I know I'm going to have a little bit of layering of a lighter fur over that, so it's not super worrisome to me. Get some deep purple kind of going. I do want to see the color, so you will have to add white to the purple. Whenever you're using a dox, it's so dark that sometimes it feels like you've got to have maybe some. There we go. I'll get into my quinacridone here. Sometimes it's nice to get the white and quinacridone together. Playing with that splashy fur.
I love that purple fur.
Isn't that great?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the other kind of runs of colors that we can play with, and I'll put out some more phthalo blue when we're doing a very colorful, splashy little dog, is green. So I might take some of my green and my burnt sienna and even a little of my cad yellow, but it makes a dark color. And kind of through here, gonna wander some green, and we can blend it into this. It's a pretty dark value still. Let's get a little more green into it. I'm layering over stuff. If I want to create some lighter fur, I just go right into maybe these two colors and highlight some of those that might be lighter. Get more into the Naples yellow. Look at that splashy splash.
This little puppy could be up there with the cow that I like so much.
This little puppy could be with the cow and this month's piggy.
Oh yeah, the piggy.
Right? We are in it with some playfulness this year. I grabbed some yellow and some white. Again, that's pretty fun. So we're going to call that step 3, because this is a lot to take in. This type of sort of free-spirited painting. Even though when you're used to it, it can be really relaxing and really chill. If you've never done it before, it can be like, wait, what? All the colors are crazy. So it's a good exercise to learn how to just flow with it. We're going to continue on through step 4, and we're going to play with the layers and the colors. I want to kind of play with what's happening on the ear here. Make sure that you do keep your water clean. So you may be changing your water quite a lot during this. I'm going to go ahead and take some of my Cad Red and my Quin Magenta together. And when there's a lot of Quin Magenta, it kind of is a cooler, darker color. Really beautiful color, but it is a cooler, darker color.
A cooler, darker color.
And we're going to talk about the deep part of the There's these sort of little dark areas of the fur coming over.
I'm going to zoom over your left.
Okay.
Oh, that red is so cute.
It is a nice red.
It is a very nice red.
But over it is some really nice lighter values. So I'm going to take my Naples and a bit of my white because I do want some lighter value there. And come right over the top to talk about some of the little hair that is splashing over that. So we still have the dark, but we've got a bit of that lighter value. Maybe a little bit of my yellow and my just a little bit of this peachy pink. Kind of really blends well with what's happening here. That looks good and cheerful. Pretty good about that. Playful and S-curves just being whimsical with that. Now, I still really like the kind of orange color that's on the air, so I don't want to lose that entirely that we had going. So back into that kind of wonderful space I want to go. And if we want to lighten some of it, we can go right into our yellow. And then even, and look, I'm just grabbing little bits, our Naples yellow. Talk about the little light bits of that ear. And look at that flick out right there.
Oh, yeah.
Just playful.
That's very playful ears.
I like that now. This is really kind of wonderful there.
I really like it.
He's a pretty boy. We haven't even put the wonderful water everywhere, have we? We haven't even splashed the water yet.
Yeah.
So definitely keeping the water clean. I'm going to maybe work some of what's happening here. And I'm going to use one of my very favorite color combos, my blue and phthalo green, which makes a phthalo turquoise. Now I may have to add a little white to see the turquoise initially. And if we remember underneath the jaw, we've got a little bit of kind of coming from here. A little bit of fur that's going on. It's always great to get to use the turquoise because it does a really wonderful thing. Now we do have a dark area in there, and we'll get into that with our number 4. As I go around the side, I'm going to want to lighten it up quite a lot, and I may even get a bit of my yellow into it. So that's what we're going to be playing with, and also my Naples thing, all those wonderful colors. So this is quite light here.
He's a funny little dog.
Very funny little dog. It's a funny dog. He's very funny. And if I need to lighten up my pigment, I can always kind of wipe out, and this part is almost like the ocean.
You know, this is the kind of shake that a dog does on your bed.
Oh, yeah. Well, at least our dog does. All the turquoise right here. Little S curves as it blends there, because that's what it's doing, right?
I'm looking over your left there. Oh, yeah.
And these two will play beautifully off of each other. All these colors kind of relating to each other in some sort of way. Maybe we'll kind of blend a little bit of that darker turquoise.
Hmm.
There we go. Lovely. Now, here under the chin, there's a couple, not light, but it's lighter than some of the stuff. Maybe a little bit of a brush there. That was a fun brush, right?
Hmm.
If I get more into my Naples yellow, I can kind of change the color up a bit and maybe brush that a bit there. So let's take that to there. For this way, it's just really fun, isn't he?
Yeah.
I was gonna take him really seriously, and then this happened. Now, for just a temporary bit, I want to get into my number 4 round because as I work some of this around the mouth, there's some deeper values that I want to talk about, and there's some other elements I want to get into. So I'm going to take my number 4 round, and I'm going to get into my blue and my black. These are a very deep color, and we're going to go kind of inside here. You know, under that. Where his little mouth is open, as we do, right?
Hmm.
Now, also, kind of brushing that out. And this is where I can kind of really pay attention to this amazing directionality of fur. There's a real play of light and dark from his eye being closed, which you now can see pretty well.
Yeah.
Not wild. You know, the other thing is the blue and the black, we're going to get a bit into the nose. His dog noses are spectacular.
They are. They're soft and welcoming.
Snarfly. Our dog has a very snarfly little nose. I don't know. Dogs out there everywhere. Great beings. They teach us a lot about being better, kinder people, don't they?
Hmm.
In my opinion, I learn a lot
Yeah.
from my dog. I feel like she's been a great source of wisdom for me. I'm sort of dry brushing that black and blue color here as I need to. And that kind of creates that neat space. Now, the chalk, we definitely don't want in there because you don't want to lose the, you'll think you've got one thing going, but then you've got chalk on there, and that was actually the chalk. So make sure that that's okay. And I'll show you a weird little trick. I'm going to take a little of my purple and a bit of my white. I'll come in here kind of talking about that one nostril with that. Isn't that weird? This is also dark, but it's not, you know, so much so that you can't cope. I'm going to put the magenta in this here. The weird little wonkety teeth really gave me a lot of joy. And maybe some of that right there. These subtle little colors just speak to positioning, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and grab maybe a little bit of my turquoise color with this. I do like that right there. That little highlight. It's a good highlight. And we can even come here and exaggerate this little highlight that's happening right here. What? Yeah, I know. It's so awesome. And then maybe a little bit right there as we go. Because we're just awesome like that.
You are awesome like that.
All right. Last thing I think you will want to do, and I think I'm going to do it with, I got to think every color is an opportunity. So you just, you're just like, what will it be?
That's a Sherpaism. Every color, you gotta look in the camera there. Every color is an opportunity.
Every color is an opportunity. It is, though. It's a super opportunity.
See, I triggered her.
You triggered me? Let's make a little reflection on his little nose using kind of our orange. A little yellow orange reflection. And then there's a bit there. And there's some right here. Put that a couple of places. There's some little reflections there. See these weird little bits of reflection, so you just kind of pop some color there. And not particularly bright, right? We've got our base gray of our background. I'm going to get some white into that. And these teeth are just a crack up to me. I'll need a little more flow on them. Sometimes I get my paint up there and I'm like, oh wow, the paint is not exiting the brush. These little teeth are like all kind of crazy shapes. Like, ah! He's like, look at me go. I'm shaking and my teeth are crazy.
I'm gonna get everything wet.
Everything wet and drools next. All right, let's call that step. Get caught up to here. We'll finish out this and we'll begin the splashes. I think here I need to do a couple of things real quick. One of the things that I want to do is I want to get my quinacridone. I'm going to go clean water again. Because we're doing so many mixes, it's like, it's a lot going on. I'm going to do my quin and my cad red. And I want to just in here kind of imply, before I get into the ear, a little bit of a deep shadow. And then along here, I want some similar the beginnings of some darker fur that we're going to play against. You can always come into your blue and kind of blend, and it kind of goes purple. See how it does? So you don't lose your eye. Don't lose your eye. And that'll let me get that going. And I'm going to get back into my cat's tongue. Let's go there. That seems fun. So we kept that shadow, but it got cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
And come here. And I want a much brighter, kind of like little orange coming down. If I need to get some white into it, I will. There we go. Trying to get brightness. Not all of it, but some of it is. Just brighter.
I like it.
Back into my green. maybe a bunch of that there, so it's kind of like a very light green. We'll blend that back in. And then sort of around here. So they kind of blend together, if you can see that right there. I'm going to pull out a bit of my white. And I want yellow. And I want a smidge of my green. Trying to make a very bright light color. There we go. Yeah, it's going to be a sea foam. Check that out. Now you can always pull these colors in unexpected places. And it kind of unifies across the whole thing. I have to say, I super love it. I'm going to photograph him there, right? We're going to say this is the end of this. You guys get caught up to here. And then we're going to do all this terrific, splashy, energetic drops that are going everywhere that also are a lot of fun. So now we're going to start putting in these little sparkles of the water and the way that they're splashing. And directionality is going to kind of matter. It's just something to be thinking of. I'm going to use my blue and my white. And you'll notice that these two colors were colors that, while in there, were not used a ton. So they're going to let us kind of talk about the splashes that will be coming out from him. You can bring this over into the fur. You want little ones, you want big ones. You can see it's a very light little color mix, right?
Oh, wow.
Fun stuff, right?
Yeah.
Fun stuff. This is going to be some people's favorite April image.
It's really awesome.
I'm sure there's going to be a group that's like, this is the best thing that came out of April. And I will say, probably. Just let those little values just come out. And again, you want to touch small amounts. I'm just using my number 8 cat's tongue, but the trick is just to make sure that the drops kind of are a mix of big and small. Right? And you want to say that some stuff is coming off some areas of Sir Cuteness more than other areas of Sir Cuteness. Sir Cuteness is his official name. You can see I'm kind of just being very playful with that. Now, it is important every once in a while to wash out your brush. I love him.
I love him too.
He's almost too cute to finish. It's like, he's so cute. I love him so much. It's just almost too cute to finish. But we have to.
Yes, he must.
We must finish him. I love playing. You know, you talk about certain things and then you can bring other directional lines, different places. And it is okay, and I think important every once in a while to bring some of the drops back into him. he needs to, be impacted by some of his drops. They've happened. Drops matter. Even if you go under here, all you do is you would just add a little more blue to his light drop. That makes sense to say that drop might be in a little bit of shadow.
Oh yeah, I see.
Isn't that a cool, unexpected thing you might not have known?
Oh yeah.
A few unexpected little drops that are under him there. Back into the light. Light blue. Light blue. Like touching just the brush a little bit. And then the trick is just to make sure that whatever you've got going on, you've got big, you've got small. You can have heavier water drops like that. And can you see how there's just a direction? The way the water's splashing, that it's kind of going around him in a certain way, right? Now, fun stuff here. This will be very interesting.
Yeah.
Because there's kind of and I'm going to show you something. I'll do it with my chalk since this is dry. Kind of little pattern that's going on that you may or may not be aware of. Where the water is a bit heavier, still connected some. Just tapping those out a bit. Oh. 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 Sorry, baby. So excited. He's making me so happy.
I love him. I think he turned out really. Oh, you jumped up there.
Yeah, I did. I was like, oh, this white would look really good up there. Now, again, as we go kind of underneath him, right, we will have to darken. So I'll do both of the kind of lighter drops. And then as we go down, okay to paint, say, oh, that's a big area, and then it'll get down to kind of a smaller area. You'll see me rinse out a lot, and that's because the paint can actually even dry on my brush. A little more blue because we are getting out of the area of light. You could use any brush that you have that'll let you do these little kind of little splashy dots. We're having fun. I think the thing that I hope comes out of this 30-day challenge is that people know that you can grow in your painting and take on a lot of challenges, but still just have a ton of fun. Still just playing the way you would have. And that's looking. I don't know what the evil laugh is for. I do like to kind of put some little energetic dots here and there. I feel like we're almost there. We've got a couple little bits that we've got to disperse, because when they're shaking off like this, they are wet everywhere. They're not like wet some places and then not other places. They are I don't want to not capture that sense, but I think we're getting there, John.
Yeah, I think so too.
You know, just take this till you're super happy. I'm super happy right now. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. This one definitely tickled my soul.
I love it.
I hope it tickled everybody's soul. You know, I truly do, because it was just a fun piece. Taking kind of a darker blue so that it shows, but it doesn't disrupt the very involved dot pattern that we've got going here.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I bet when you started this, you just thought, there's just no way. This is crazy. There's so much going on.
This is awesome.
And I bet now you're like, you're going to be like putting your dog, like hosing your dog and like shaking, trying to get snapshots with your phone.
This should be called Not on the Bed.
Not on the bed. All right, officially, this is not on the bed. I love it. That was so delightful. Just everything about how the color went on him. I think one of my favorite parts is doing these little splashes as they come off. It's such an energetic piece. I hope he really lifted your spirits and you really enjoyed learning all these techniques. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning of this adorable sweet dog, that this is a 30-day painting program. I'd love to invite and entice you to come back, because tomorrow we're going to be doing this gorgeous scene of clouds, storm clouds breaking light into a little farmhouse. I think you're really going to enjoy it. It's a beautiful piece to paint. Be good to yourself, be good to each other, and I want to see you in an easel really soon. Bye-bye!